Hey everyone, it's Hannah here at ColDesi, and if you're new to embroidery or you're thinking about getting into embroidery, you should watch this full video because we're going to be going over the 4 most common embroidery mistakes, and then we're going to talk about some ways to avoid them. The first most common mistake, and probably the most important one to avoid, is improper hooping. So what I did is I basically improperly hooped a shirt so that I can talk to you guys about what that means. The first thing you'll notice is these wrinkles here. Your embroidery is going to sew right on top of that, leaving permanent wrinkles in your shirt. Next, it's also too loose, so you shouldn't have this much extra fabric in your hoop. The last is that it's really just crooked. So if you can see here, the Allied Gridlock Hoops have grid lines, and this is really going to help you line up your graphic. You can use the buttons sometimes to help you out as well. But if you look, you can kind of see that this hoop is just a little crooked, and that's going to lead to a big mistake. It may look like it's nothing here, but once you sew out a logo, you will be able to notice. The last thing is that good hooping should always involve some form of backing. So just like this logo we have on the other side of our shirt here, this was perfectly hooped, it was perfectly aligned, and it also had backing involved. So you can see here, basically you put this underneath your hoop, then you lock your hoop into place and line it up properly. Make sure that it's nice and tight, and then you're ready to sew. That backing is just going to help stabilize your shirt a little more. Allied Gridlock Hoops are really my favorite embroidery hoop, and they're going to help you avoid a lot of those problems we just talked about. The first thing is the grid lines that we just mentioned. They're really going to help you line up your design. The second reason I love these hoops is just because of the premium plastic here. This is a really nice sturdy plastic, and it's going to help make your shirt really nice and secure. The third reason I really like these hoops is because of the tension knob. So you can see here, you can easily adjust your tension to tighten and loosen your hoop. It is going to help you reduce getting hoop burn as well. The second most common embroidery mistake is not changing your needles often enough. So the question is, how often do I change my needles? Well, a really great way to gauge this is if you're having a lot of thread breaks, go ahead and sew out a design that always works well. If you're still getting thread breaks, that means the needles are the problem and you should change those out. The third most common embroidery mistake is not checking your bobbin tension. Now, the embroidery pros here at ColDesi say that it's a really great habit to just go ahead and check your bobbin tension before every job. So you're going to learn about all of this in your training if you're not yet an embroiderer, but I'll show you real quick how to do it. So inside here you have your bobbin, and you'll just take it out like so and do what we like to call the drop test. So you'll drop your bobbin down like a yo-yo, and if it falls about 2 to 3 inches down, that's good. That's your safe zone. If it's falling way more than that, then your bobbin's too loose, and if it's not falling enough, then your bobbin's too tight. And the last, but certainly not the least, most common embroidery mistake is just using bad digitizing. So what is digitizing? Well, digitizing is the way that your design is programmed so that it can be sewn out on your embroidery machine. And it's the #1 way to stick out from the competition. So right away, you can see a huge visual difference in this firefighter logo that's digitized well and digitized bad. We recommend always using a premium digitizing service like ColDesi Graphics. Now, the thing that people don't realize about bad digitizing is that it's not just a visual thing. It's also a time thing. So when something is digitized bad and it has no rhyme or reason, it's going to take longer on your machine because it has to go back and forth to all those different pathways. The other thing is that bad digitizing is really the #1 cause of bird nesting and thread breaks and other embroidery headaches. So it's really important here to not take the cheap route and really do your research to find a good digitizer. So if you're thinking about getting into embroidery, do not let this scare you away. When you get an Advanced embroidery machine from ColDesi, you're gonna get the training and support that you need to be successful. If you're already embroidering and you're running into some of these problems, well, hopefully these solutions help. So if you wanna learn more about the Advanced embroidery machines, or just any of the products that we used here in this video, visit avance-emb.com.